for kids. Flax is a very useful plant. The leaves are soft and moist when they are growing and on stalk. When the stalks and leaves are dried, they can be used to make baskets and all sorts of things. People have been doing this for many years. Long ago, people who lived in the cities used to put flax stalks out on their roofs so the sun would dry them. The roofs back then were flat and you could easily walk on them. In fact, some people even went up on the roof to sleep when the weather wasn't hot. Today's Bible story, we are going to read about a woman in the city of Jericho who put flax stalks up on her roof to dry. It was a good thing because that saved the lives of 2 people. Joshua was the new leader of God's people. He knew that he must lead the Israelites into the land that God had promised them. They were tired of wandering around in the desert. They were ready to build homes and have farms. The new land was beautiful and good. It was the perfect place to live. Joshua knew that because he had been there as a spy 40 years ago. The new land on the other side of the Jordan River, there were people living in the land, but they did not believe in God. God wanted his people to have the land. Joshua chose 2 men to go and explore the land. They were to sneak into the large city of Jericho and see how strong the enemy was. The men pretended to be ordinary travelers. Once inside the Jericho, they looked for a place to stay. The 2 spies found their way to the house of a woman named Rahab. She had been a bad woman in the city, but she had heard about the Israelite people, and she decided to let the spies stay with her. Rahab knew that the king of Jericho would want to hurt the spies, so she decided to hide them. Where could she hide them? She remembered that she had put stalks of flax on her roof. They were spread out to the dry. That would be the perfect hiding place. She told the spies to go onto the roof and hide under the flax stalks. No one would see them there. The king had been hearing all about the Israelites. He knew they might attack his city. He told everyone to watch out for strangers. He knew the Israelites might send spies. And he was right. Someone told him that the spies were staying at Rahab's house. The king sent soldiers to find them. When they reached Rahab's house, they banged on the front door, shouting, "The king demands that you bring out the 2 men that are staying here. We know they are spies." It was a good thing that Rahab had hidden the spies. She hurried downstairs to open the door for the king's men. She said, "Yes, 2 men were here, but they have just left. If you hurry, you could catch them." "They'll have gone toward the river," shouted a soldier, and they set off in pursuit. The Israelite spies lay very still in their hiding place. Soon Rahab returned. The 2 men asked her why she had risked her life to protect 2 foreign enemies. "I will tell you why," she said. "I know the Lord had promised you this land, and most of the people are afraid of your people. We have heard how God divided the sea for you and brought you without the wilderness. When you attack this city, promise me that you will save my life and the life of my family." The men agreed. "If you tell no one about our visit, we will see that you and your family are not harmed." By then it was night and the city gates were shut, but Rahab's house was built on the city wall. She brought a rope and fastened it to the window, and the spies climbed down to the ground outside the city wall. "Escape to the mountains," she advised them. "Hide there for 3 days until the search is over." Before they left, the spies said, "You must tie a piece of scarlet red cord in this window so we will know your house from a distance. When we march against the city, whoever is inside the house will be saved." The spies were glad that Rahab saved their lives. Even though that Rahab was a bad woman in the past, now she was helping God's people. Rahab and the spies did not know it yet, but in the future, Rahab would marry an Israelite, and her descendants would follow God. In fact, hundreds of years later, one of her descendants would be Jesus Christ. Woo! When the two spies returned to Joshua, they gave the report. Joshua knew that it was now time to enter the land. Well, that's it for today's story, but next week we're going to be starting in a line for getting ready for the holidays, so we'll be going back to the regular schedule of Bible stories. This coming January. So we're going to go ahead and tell you that there is no donkey this week. We will have one following week.